Hey everybody, Alex Kazor, SteelersDepot.com, back for another Pittsburgh Steelers analysis of their big Week 8 victory, 28-24 nail biter. As always, they seem to be against the Baltimore Ravens. Steelers move to 7-0 for only the second time in their history. If they win next week, they will move to 8-0 for the first time in team history. So let's go ahead and recap what happened on Sunday. First, as I'm sure you can remind me of in the comments, I was wrong about this game. I picked Baltimore, and I'm getting pretty good at picking these games where if I pick against the Steelers, as I did versus the Texans, that means the Steelers will get down early. I'll feel good about my prediction, and then I'll look stupid by game's end. So that's how it's gone so far. But that's what happened in this one. Of course, early, like literally early in the game, Roberts Blaine pick six Lamar Jackson, and that gets the party started. But that was really the highlight of the first half, as everything else seemed to go wrong the rest of the way. The first half offense did absolutely nothing. We're shut out. Ben only completed four passes. The offense went over three on third down. Whether that was trying to run the football, throw the football, they just could not move it at all. And defensively, while you had the pick six on Lamar and the defense that made some plays, obviously the running game got gashed. The loss of Tyson Alualu certainly hurt this team. Isaiah Buggs in the first half did not play well. He redeemed himself in the second half, thankfully, but the first half it was just getting gashed zone schemes that the Steelers aren't quite as good against as man and gap schemes, and really just didn't have enough answers for defending the option and playing without Alu and trying to do some of the mesh charge stuff that left you with only 10 to defend because you always had someone dedicated to the quarterback, and it just really looked rough early. But then things turned around in the second half, at least for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. And I think the big key was you just gave Ben the keys to the car and you said, you drive it the rest of the way. And that's really what happened. Ben said as much after the game that really they were just making up plays. And you could see they were doing a lot of no huddle and muddle huddle. And Ben was talking to basically each player individually, the offensive linemen, the receivers, the tight ends, and just trying to make stuff up on the fly. And that seemed to really jumpstart this team. I think it didn't allow the Ravens to sub. I think it took away some of their pressure looking packages whenever you were going with more receivers on the field so they couldn't blitz some of their DBs because then you weren't going to have their secondary to cover if you were going for receivers and a tight end and things like that. And it also helped them to bail out of some of their blitz packages, or if they wanted to blitz and show pressure, then they were gonna. You could tell that was coming, and Ben could get the ball out hot or know where to go with the football. So really, you just let Ben run the show, and while the stats won't show it, only threw for 182 yards, and statistically, it wasn't the 400-yard, five touchdown performance that is generally considered to be an elite game by some of the top quarterbacks in football. I thought the second half of Sunday was some of the best football Ben's played all season in terms of managing the game, basically being a player coach on the field and giving this offense enough juice to make plays to pull this one out. And as Ben said, credit to the receivers. I thought they all made plays. Ebron busted coverage touchdown, but a touchdown nonetheless. He's catching the ball, making some tough plays. Juju's just been a real Heinz Ward. Like he was the Heinz Ward of the Steelers Ravens game. Just tough underneath, making plays after the catch, dragging Ravens defenders, the guy on third down. So just Juju. Again, it's not going to look pretty. The numbers are not spectacular, but he's coming up with so many big plays the last 2 weeks on third down to move the sticks to be that physical presence in the slot that's just really impressive to see. And defensively, again, it was far from a pretty performance. I'll have to look at the stat for this for stats of the weird, but the Ravens put 265 on the ground against Pittsburgh, and the Steelers have not given up that many yards on the ground since 1993 versus Seattle. And I don't know the last time a team ran for 265 and lost the game, especially against Pittsburgh. I don't know if it's happened before, but second half was certainly better than the first, and it was not pretty and it was not perfect, and it's hard to play that consistent against the Baltimore Ravens. In the first half, obviously, Steelers did not possess the ball that much, and they were really, the last month, a team that was controlling the football offensively. They were winning on possession downs and just really letting their defense only be out there for a couple of plays. They were making their stops and kept guys rested and not having to sub out so much and test your depth. But with injuries and the turnovers, even the pick six, as nice as it was, put your defense right back out on the field, that put the Steelers in a tough spot and really wore them down physically and mentally in the first half. And certainly Baltimore had their successes in the second half. There were more busted coverages in the second half, some really annoying plays on that one drive that I think put Baltimore up, 24-21. You had multiple busted coverages and Willie Snead getting open and Devin Duvernay getting open on third and 14. So that's certainly frustrating. But you made the plays when you had to late. The fourth and three draw of Lamar Jackson. That's such a tough play to defend. I mean, it's empty. They're spreading the field out. You're kind of probably keying and there's a chance of a drop play because it's empty and low red zone. That kind of is acute for that, but it's still tough to stop. And so kudos to Isaiah Bugs, who really played a whole lot better in the second half, to Minka Fitzpatrick, to Vince Williams for converging and making that stop in a really, really critical situation. And you guys know my thoughts on defense. I think it's so hard to stop teams from moving the football, from putting up some points. I mean, offenses are scoring more than ever before in 2020, even more than last year. And so I think the mark of a defense are ones who can make plays, situational football, red zone, third down, areas where the Steelers did a good enough job today. But Dupree's forced fumble in the first half, with the Ravens having second and goal and Steelers 8, was a massive play, especially in hindsight. It was a tie game at that point, and then they just made plays late in the game, and they got sacks, they got turnovers, they took the ball away 4 times today. They sacked Lamar Jackson 4 times, he fumbled 3 times. So Jackson's a really good player. He's made some plays for sure against Pittsburgh, but no one seems to handle and contain. That's probably the good word for it. Contain Lamar Jackson better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. So kudos to them for that. It's not an easy task. It's a really 60-minute just slog of trying just to make it work and to get to the final whistle of the game. So I think overall this defense has the mark of what a defense needs to have and needs to do to win games. And again, that is situational football, pressure and sacks and turnovers. So the Steelers move to 7-0. They will take on the Dallas Cowboys at Dallas next Sunday at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Obviously, Pittsburgh should be the heavy favorites in that one. We'll see if Andy Dalton's playing for Dallas or not with that concussion. I know Dallas has played terrible this year. Their defense has been really rough, but they got some good receivers. They got Zeke, a good running back, so they'll face another solid rushing attack that the Cowboys at least have the potential to have. I know it has not all come together. Their offensive line so beat up, but Steelers will be the favorites in that one, but no guarantees for sure. Playing on the road, it's been a tough stretch, physical games versus Tennessee and Baltimore, but really impressed with the Steelers team. Obviously, ability to rally from behind, physical game. Baltimore was the favorite. Obviously, I picked Baltimore. They were coming off the bye. Everything seemed to be in their favor, and we'll have to see the health of guys like Tyson Alualu and Cam Hayward. Not sure on the status of those guys, and if they're not going to be available, that will certainly test some of the depth here that Pittsburgh has, but they're just a resilient, tough team that just, it's very cliche, but finds ways to win. And that is commendable. Absolutely. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me how wrong I was for picking the Ravens in this one and how I should not have done that. I will learn my lesson maybe. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we will talk to you soon.